Hey guys, I'm the 50s Kid. This is my E90 BMW with the N54 engine. It's got some codes in the DME. It's got low pressure fuel system codes and a fuel pump plausibility code, and it also has low fuel pressure on the low side. It's supposed to be 72 PSI, but it's reading at 48 PSI. And I did some research and I figured out that the low pressure fuel sensor is the most likely culprit for this. I guess they go bad. And I have a new part. I also ordered a new fuel pump as well. I figured might as well change that due to preventative maintenance, depending on, well, it was gonna be depending on whether the replacing the fuel pressure sensor fixed the problem, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna throw it in, you know, because on a BMW, a fuel pump will go bad eventually. Anyway, we're gonna start with the fuel pressure sensor. We're gonna change it over and let's get started. So these are the codes that are stored in my DME right here. You can ignore that one. So 2AAF, fuel pump plausibility. I guess online a lot of people say that this is a really common code and you can ignore it. I mean, I don't know that you want to ignore anything because, you know, it does indicate a problem. Low pressure fuel system, fuel pressure, that's a 2A, 2D. So something with the low pressure system. And that's what led me to look at the low pressure, the low side fuel pressure, and I saw that it was 48 PSI. And that's, I'm not sure what bar that is, but it's supposed to run under 5 bar, at 5 bar, and that's 72 PSI, so this is obviously way less than that. And then this one, I'm actually worried about this one too. Faulty receiver DME, transmitter EKP, that's the EKP I believe is the fuel pump module. So this might indicate that there are problems with that module as well, which I know that that is a thing that happens, and I'm hoping, what I'm going to do is clear these codes and I'm going to hope that that doesn't come back. Maybe that came because of the problems with, you know, these other problems here. That's what I'm hoping. But if not, then whatever, we'll get another one of those and replace it as well. This one, the power mount, I'm not sure what this one is. I think we can ignore that one for now. Not that we're going to ignore it forever, but I think it's unrelated to the fuel stuff. Anyway. And there's the low pressure fuel, the low system fuel pressure, 48 PSI, should be around 72. So depending on your situation, you might also have some hesitation if you have this sort of problem. In my situation, I also have some transmission issues. I've got sort of rough shifts, which is a completely different problem. So I can't really tell if the fuel pump is weak or not, or something like that. So I don't know if I really need to change it or not, but like I said, I got one for preventative maintenance reasons, so I'm just gonna throw that in at the same time. Just wanna get the fuel system kind of healthy and try to get these codes to go away. That way we can be sure that we're starting from a good place when we go to boost this thing. Sorry for the interruption, but we have to thank this week's sponsor, which is OEMBimmerparts.com. I love this website. They've got super fast 2-day shipping. They've got multiple warehouses all over the US so they can get your parts out to you as fast as possible. And I love their website. It's well categorized. There's not a lot of extra stuff. It's just all the most popular parts that you're gonna need, and they're the OEM brands. They do also have some quality aftermarket brands as well if that's what you're looking for. So if you are in the market for BMW parts of any kind, please check out OEMBimmerparts.com. So I've removed what I would consider to be the common components in a lot of videos so far, and I've shown the detailed steps for doing that. So I'm gonna link to one of those for doing it. Here I've already removed the bolts and I've just staged the parts. So I'm gonna show you how to do this really quick. 6 8mm bolts will remove this thing right up here. And then these 2 covers just unsnap with catches on the sides. You pull those off, one here, one here. There's wires that you can just pull up. They're little clips, you pull those off. Same thing up over here. This thing pulls out. There's a little clip here and a little clip in here. A little screwdriver, you do that. You pull this thing up and out. Same thing here and here. You can press on these little catches right here, or you can unclip this here, here, and here. Remove it. Finally, you'll have 2 T20 screws right here, and that'll remove this thing. My screws are stripped out at this point. So here's the real meat and potatoes of the job. We have to get the air intake box off, and we're gonna get the throttle body out, and we'll be able to leave the intake manifold in place and get access to the low pressure fuel sensor right underneath that. So to get this out, we just gotta remove these clamps right here. It's a 6mm. Here, and then there's another one back here, as you can see. You want to get those fairly loose. There are these 3 cables right here, there's rubber grommets that sort of go onto these little hooks down here. So you just reach down and pull those up. Reach down, pull those up. If you're having trouble getting them off, spray some silicone spray on those. Silicone spray. Highly recommend that for working on cars. So next, you want to push this on either side, and that'll get that vacuum pipe off. It clips in right there. You'll hear it expelling like that. Then all we have to do is pull this up and off. Oop, one of these got right back on where it went. Okay, there we go. Okay, you should lift this clip up right here. Make sure that that's kind of like fully up. There's a T30 right here. It'll sort of stay in the pipe. And then these blow-off valves we can get off. You can pull off these vacuum lines. And then these turn like that. And then you can get the blow-off valves out of this pipe. You may not have to actually take them out, to be honest with you. They can probably flex enough, maybe. Can they? Yeah, I think they can. But I don't know, I take them out anyway. And I'll just kind of push this down. I see how this was like on top of where it screws into. If you move it and put it below, then you'll get more room to kind of push it down. And put this vacuum line kind of over here. We've got 4 10mm bolts, 2 on the top and then 2 below it. I'm gonna do the bottom ones first. And now this guy is actually gonna be in the way. I hate these newfangled sensors they came up with. I preferred the old ones with the little clips where you can just press the clip and remove it, like this one up here. As you see, you just push the little thing in and it comes out. These other ones these style ones here are really stupid. You can see that at the top of the screen because you gotta reach in and with a pick tool and kind of get it pushed up like that. They're dumb. And this one is pointing downward. So maybe an angled pick is good. Okay. Yeah, there's this little 4-pin sensor holding that in. This tube's flexible so we can pull it up. Yeah, there we go. I'll just kind of get it out of the way for us. Okay, it just never hurts to give yourself more room. All right, now we can get this out. There's the throttle body. It's of course plugged in. Ooh, that guy's dirty. Needs a cleaning. So we have a little line on the side here. That's one of those ones where you squeeze it. Boom, pull it off. And then we have an electrical line. That's just a clip. You push in and have it pop off. It'll be sort of, dirt will kind of be holding it in. You gotta wiggle it. All right, so this box, we actually have to get it. There's these little metal brackets that are attached to the intake manifold, and this electrical box is clipped onto those little brackets right here. There's a special BMW tool for removing this. It's just 2 metal wedges. They kind of slip in right here. This is where the clip is, right here. Oh, by the way, first, why don't we take off these 2 connectors right here, because this connector here actually goes to the low pressure fuel switch or sensor. So we'll pull that one out. That one kind of just came out just fine. This other one is a push thing. These style connectors, they should be somewhat easy to get out if you sort of angle them out. It's the same kind of one as the fuel pressure or the fuel injectors. So, if you kind of just pull it down to pull it out in an angle, you should be able to get it out without a pick tool most of the time. Just depends on how stout the sensor is. All right, it was not too difficult to get that off. What I essentially did was shove my pick underneath the black plastic right here. Really, you got to shove really, really hard. Like, don't be afraid, you're not really going to break it. Wedge the pick under there, wedge the other pick under the other side, and then just pull this thing off and it will come off. and then your picks will drop, so be aware of that. One of mine dropped. It's down on the engine splash shield thing, and I can't even see it. I'll have to jack the car up and remove that in order to get it back, which sucks, but whatever. So here we go. Here's that right there is the low pressure fuel switch. It looks like it's been messed with in the past. I think that the connector on top is broken a little bit. Yeah, so see how this is the other side of that connector right there? That's what I was talking about. So let's get this out of the way. Put it out of the way right there. All right, well, let's just get that off. You know what I did not do? I didn't discharge the fuel system after I ran it just now to show you the fuel pressure. So what I'm gonna do is, oh, you know what? It's gonna be difficult to do that. I can't really start the car at this point. We took the throttle body out and everything. Darn. Well, this thing is going to squirt a little bit of fuel when I start to remove it, which is fine. We'll deal with that. It's not going to be that much. But I would suggest you do that. I would suggest you run the car and then pull the fuel pressure, the fuel pump fuse, and just pull it while the engine's running, and it'll just die, and that'll discharge the fuel pressure, and then you won't really have an issue when you're doing this. But yeah, I'm gonna go make sure that I'm gonna unplug the battery, just because sometimes the fuel pump likes to prime, so when the car wakes up a little bit. So I'm gonna go pull the battery, and we'll make sure that that doesn't happen. So that is a 24mm wrench, and it looks like I probably should counter hold that. There's a little flat on the line to counter hold it, but it doesn't look easy to do. All right, wasn't too difficult. Hope the fuel pressure isn't that bad. You know what? Let's get a rag down there. Just absorb the fuel once that O-ring sort of breaks. That actually wasn't too bad. There's a lot of dirt down there, man. Jeez. All right, so this is the old fuel pressure sensor right here. See, there's an O-ring on it. The new one does not come with an O-ring. You're not supposed to put an O-ring on if you're putting this in the new line. But since we are putting this in, this is the adapter, okay? And here's the part number for the adapter. Now I got my new sensor from OEM Bimmer Parts along with the fuel pressure, the fuel pump, but they don't have this adapter, so I had to buy this and also a new O-ring from somebody else. But OEM Bimmer Parts does have the old sensor, so if you just want to make it easy on yourself, you can just buy the old sensor from them. But yeah, so this one, it doesn't need an O-ring for when it screws into the adapter, because it's a compression fit right there. So that'll screw in, we'll tighten that down, and then the O-ring will go on here for screwing into the old line. Now, just fair warning, if you're going to do it this way, then you haven't updated the new line. The pressure sensor is still really close to the engine, so I don't know if it's probably going to go bad just the same way that the old one did. So I guess the idea is to get the new line, and if you want to spend the money, go ahead and do that. But for me, this wasn't that difficult, and if this goes bad in another 150,000 miles, which I'm not even planning to have the car for, I'll do it again. But for me, this was the right price. As long as you're aware when you're doing these things, you can make your own decision. So we've got O-ring, slip the new O-ring on, boom, and we'll get these tightened and it'll be ready to go on. And this is not a 24, I believe this is a 27. So make sure you have that kind of wrench, or adjustable wrench works. No shame in using an adjustable wrench, in my opinion. And this is a 14. So I'll just tighten those together nice and tight. And now this is ready to go in. Get this guy plugged in, screwed in. Give that a crank. I mean, it is an O-ring. It doesn't need to be super ridiculously tight right there. Don't want it to leak, but I don't think we need to make it so tight that we're gonna crack that line. So I think that's plenty. Now, where did I put that connector? Right here. There's like a There's a square side to the connector and a flat side, so just make sure you note that before you put the thing in. That way you know which side goes where. Yeah, so we're good. Now we can put this back together here. Let's slide this guy on and reconnect these here and here. Boom. Throttle body cleaner or carb choke cleaner, it's all about the same kind of solvents. Probably have to do a little scrubbing. Now these are electronic and they have gears inside. There's a whole gear train in here. So you might be tempted to kind of open up the flap and just kind of go for it and stuff. Just be real careful if you want to do that, because you could cause the gear to skip and you could really mess it up. The thing doesn't need to be that dang clean. It's just, you know, get it as clean as you humanly can. Do your best. And somebody was asking me recently if you should be able to see a little bit of air along the gap when it's closed. The answer is yes. You didn't break anything if you just see like this sort of barely there line of light peeping through on the top. That's how it's supposed to be. All right, this is about the best that I could get it, but that's fine by me. I got most of the dirt off there. It's just a little varnish that's left. All right, let's get this back in. Do it when it's there. Now, get all 4 bolts started first before you tighten any of them down. There's no need to make these super tight. See, I'm just sort of making them barely tight. I can feel when it's just tight. See, that one is a little bit loose, and that's pretty good right there. It's really all about like even pressure, you know, when you're tightening them by hand, you can sort of feel, oh yeah, that one's tight already. Oh, this one is moving a lot. Okay, make that a little tighter until the resistance feels about the same on all of them. That's kind of it. All right, we have this little line on the side that just snaps in. Push it in until you hear the snap. I did end up removing this intake pipe here just to make it a little easier for me filming wise. You don't have to do it, but it was just a band clamp down here. So I'll put that back in here. So it goes above that. The screw thing has to go right here. And then this should snap in. That's a quick connect snap. Remember there's a cable or a harness to snap into, I believe it's a map sensor on this engine right there. And then this just plugs in there. I think I removed the blow-off valve entirely on this side. Those are just real simple little turn things. Yeah. We've got these vacuum lines. I'm pretty sure I have a little cover that's supposed to go right here to protect this alternator bolt, because that's positive voltage right there. So don't touch a tool to that or to anything that's negative. At this point, I think we just put this guy back in. We're good to go. Got these 3 wires, these 3 grommets. All right, this guy, plug him back in. Connect it there. Okay, at this point, we can start the car, check the fuel pressure. Let's go up here. I think it's in the main menu. Delete engine adaptation value. Not sure which one, but I'm gonna guess F2. Okay, cool. I will, yes, I will. Oh, okay, let's turn it off. Vehicle must assume sleep mode to change how long does that take? Interesting. I thought there was a way to put it into sleep mode, if I remember correctly. But of course, I'm not going to remember where that is. Let's just see what happens. Let's start the thing. Get these fuel pressures displayed as the old ones. Let's start it. I hear the fuel pump priming, actually. Ooh, not good so far. But we do have 1700 PSI on the high pressure side, which we didn't have last time I was looking at this. I believe it was like 750 or something in my video when I was doing the review on this tool. Maybe we should go for a drive. I think I might, do those other clear adaptations things and go for a drive. Maybe it didn't delete the values. Maybe we need to let it go into sleep mode. I don't know. We'll see. I'll play around with this a little more and then I'll let you know. All right, guys. Well, I did reset the adaptation values and the learn thing, whatever it was, again, and I let it sit to make sure the adaptations were saved. And it does not seem to have fixed it, so I guess it must be the fuel pump, because I've already changed the fuel pressure regulator in a previous video. That was what was wrong with my leaking gas tank system, the evap system. Remember, we changed the fuel pressure regulator and the sender unit, or the level sensor, on the the driver's side, the left-hand side of the car. So that's been changed, so it's got to be the fuel pump at this point. This is the only other part of the low pressure system, so I'm glad I bought one. Might as well go ahead and change it. All right, these are 10s. So the one with the big wires is over on this side. I remember this one was hard to get out of the way. It was always constantly in our way. So that one, you just squeeze the gray things in, and it should be the same thing with this one. Yep. Okay, this one easy enough to get out of the way. I did not think to get a new ring. I probably said I would last time I was in here doing the last video here. All right, now we just gotta bang this thing open. Yeah, and the reason I wanted to go for this is because I've already done this once before, so I knew this ring would be a lot easier to get off this time. That's where my thinking is. It will be a lot harder than what you just saw me do. You're going to be banging on this ring for quite a while. It won't even turn, and you'll think that something's wrong, but you just keep on going. You'll get it. Let me go grab the new fuel pump. Okay, so what I suggest you do is move this to where this little hump, this little area right here is as close to here as you can, and that way you have some room to get this ring up and out like this. That's the easy way to do it. Make sure that if you have some compressed air, you should blow this area off before you even take anything apart. You don't want to drop debris down in the tank here. Oh, I'm just not a fan of this at all, the way they did this. This one, I would say this is, it's a lot better to do this when you're almost empty. Oh, yeah, it is a push in. Okay. Okay. Well, that was easy. Okay. This tube here in the center, it's like a smaller one. And then there's two tubes over on the side. And so the black one is on the back of the car, and then the clear one is sort of on the front, and they just click down in there. So, yeah, I don't want to do this, but man, I really should have thought about this before I began this video. What an idiot. Unfortunately, I need to move them aside in order to get this out, and that means I'm going to need to go digging for them in the fluid, in the gasoline. Oh, and then the gasoline is coming out with this thing. Oh, this sucks. Oh. This stuff is gold. Paid a lot of money for it. I don't want to lose it all. All right, I'm just gonna shove this thing in. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I basically got it. Okay, snap this in at the correct angle. Yep. Now the real trick is finding the holes that this is supposed to go for or go into. Right there and right there. And then there's another tube that snaps into this thing up here, right? The question is, where the hell is that? It's right here. Okay, I think I got it there. Hey, I got it. Okay, this one, it's got to come up out of there. Put this in. All right, and that's it. Snap this on. Snap that on. Easy. I think I probably absorbed some cancer there. Yeah, so moral of the story, make sure your tank is nearly empty when you do this. Don't be like me, trying to impress people. Let's get this thing closed up. Alrighty. The little one's over here, the big one's over here. Cool, let's go start the car. All right, guys, I have reconnected the fuel pump fuse and the battery. And we're running. Okay, let's go check the fuel pressure. Well, you know what, guys? That didn't fix it. It is still 47 PSI, so I don't know what's going on here. It's really weird. I don't know. I got to do some research here. You know what, guys? I was noticing, I was looking in metric here. I never looked up what kPa means. I think it's kilopascals. So yeah, it is kilopascals. Now, it's weird to me that when you switch over to English, it's just dividing it by 100. You see that? It's like the same basic reading, but it's just moving the decimal place, which seems very suspicious to me, because there's no way that PSI is a base 10 system. Everything in the imperial system is all, some weird factors. So yeah, check this out here. Look at this. 1 kilopascal is 0.145 psi. So we need to do the math here. I think there's a bug in this software. So here, 443 times 0.145 is 64. So I think this was actually higher when it was running. Let's start it back up. Yeah, okay, so 476 times 0.145 is 69. This thing has been basically right the whole time. I didn't need to do any of this, man. Dude, that really sucks. Well, I mean, I suppose the fuel pressure sensor probably was bad because we were getting those codes. I did clear the codes. So I'll see if they come back. And let's see, DME switch off, instrument cluster, and we just have this fuel pump plausibility, which I don't know if I cleared them since I've been changing the fuel pump here, so I will clear that again and see what comes up. I'm told that a lot of people have this and it kind of never goes away. So I'm not too worried about that, but the other code did not come back, so I think, you know, I think that changing the low pressure sensor was necessary and it fixed that code for sure. And these ones I think are just, you know, I sent a code with this tool to have this thing shut off, so they might be because of that. I'll end up no, I will end up resetting the codes again, and yeah, we'll see if any of those come back. But yeah, that's kind of it's half disappointing. Launch, man. A bug in the software. Well, I suppose I can't be too upset about that. I'm a software engineer myself. We're gonna blame QA on this one. This one got by the QA engineers at launch. I'm gonna notify them and have them fix the bug in their code. And I'm happy at least to know that at least, you know, there is nothing wrong. The fuel pressure is reading right. And I'm not upset about changing the fuel pump. I kind of was planning on doing it anyway. It's just good preventative maintenance. And the fuel pressure sensor did need to be changed, so we changed that. It's all good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to. I'm the 50s Kid. Thanks a lot for watching.